Welcome to Anita's Wednesday Wisdom Highlights. So glad you're joining me today. I have something really powerful that I want to share with you today. So I'm super excited that you're watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay later. Please make a comment or something. Join the conversation. I really want to get this word out because I think it's so important. You know, today is a very interesting day because yesterday, um, with the situation that happened at this elementary school, which is such a tragedy. And then today, the West Volusia Regional Chamber, they put on a Valor Awards for the first responders in our community. They were celebrating and honoring the folks that go out of their way every single day to minister to us in the community, the first responders, and the ones that, tend to see people on their worst days, right? We were honoring them today, and it was such a humbling, but I was experience, but I was so glad to be a part of it. It was just so encouraging too and inspiring. And it really hit home for me today just how important it is for us to learn how to manage bad experiences well so that we can grow from them. You know, this is what we've been talking about in the personal growth power hour that I facilitate twice a month. We're talking about the law of pain, which says good management of bad experiences can lead to great growth. You know, I can't even imagine the pain of the parents of those children that were shot yesterday, and of course, the other family members of those children, and the teachers, and even the family members of the first responders that had to go and respond to that emergency because they were putting themselves into harm's way and they knew they were. But it's just such a, I can't even go there in my mind to think about that kind of pain. And it made me start thinking that I also can't imagine the pain of that person that did the shooting. You know, we don't talk about that too much, but the pain of the person that did this horrific crime. And it's really easy for us to say, I could never do something like that, or how could anybody do something like that? And I used to be extremely judgmental about people that did commit these kind of crimes back in the day. You know, when I was younger, I used to think, they're just evil people. And what I learned about 35 years ago was that absolutely anyone, any one of us, we are completely capable of doing such a horrific thing. We really are. You know, we're not really above or below anybody else. We can all, at our worst, be like that shooter if we're in enough pain. You see, the pain is what drives us to do those kinds of things. That person was in so much pain that this is how they acted because everything starts with your thoughts. So the pain that you carry around in your heart makes you think these thoughts, and then you act on those thoughts and those feelings. You act on them. You know, my husband and I went through a really rough time about 35 years ago. Some of you know my story, some of you don't. But we went through a really rough time, and it was ugly. We both behaved very badly. We were both hurting individuals to start with, and we came into the relationship with pains and baggage and didn't work through that pain. And so we carried it into the marriage and ended up hurting each other a lot. There was, many instances where we were harsh words were spoken, bad behavior on both sides. I'm not going to go into the details, but you know, we hurt each other deeply. And I did not realize how much I was keeping score. I was adding up all these little pains, all these little hurts, every single offense, every single harsh word, every betrayal, every big hurt. I mean, some of them were big hurts and big betrayals and big pains. Some of them were little, but I was holding on to all of them. And I didn't even realize that I was building up all this anger and resentment inside of me. But I was. And it got to the point where I hate to admit this, but I actually hated my husband. I mean, I hated him. I had so much anger and resentment toward him that I hated him. And it got so bad that one night I was thinking of all the things that he had done that hurt me, and I was watching him sleeping on the couch. And I got this thought in my mind. I said to myself, I'm going to go into the kitchen, I'm going to get my cast iron frying pan, and I'm going to smash his head in. I know, right? A terrible thought. I mean, as soon as I thought that thought, the very next thing, I got sick to my stomach because I said, oh my gosh, I was appalled that I could even think such a terrible thought, right? How could I even think such a thing? And at that very moment, I got a divine, inspirational revelation. I thought to myself, you know what? If I can even think such a horrible thought, then I am only one short step away from doing it. That's what the revelation was. I said, I am this close. I could have done it. And in that moment, I realized that I could never condemn another person, whoever has done it, because I don't know the pain that they had in their heart that drove them to it. The pain that I had in my heart that day drove me to have a horrible, heinous thought. And I could have acted on it. Thank God I didn't, but I can't condemn or judge anybody who has. I used to be very judgmental about that, but it really taught me that I'm no better and none of us are any better. It's really easy for us to think we are, but any of us are capable of it if we're in enough pain. Pain can be a great motivator in a bad way or in a good way, and that's what we have to focus on. Focusing on letting our pain drive us to something positive. Use it as fuel to drive us somewhere positive, not negative. You know, at that moment when I had those thoughts, I realized I had to work through the forgiveness process. I had to forgive my husband. I had to let go of all that anger and that hurt because I didn't want to be that type of person. I didn't want to be that person that had those kind of thoughts. And I had to forgive him, not for him, for me. I had to forgive him for me. You know, this is how we manage a bad experience well, is we acknowledge the pain, we work through the emotions, work through the forgiveness process, find the lesson, and then make positive choices in our life to let us become better instead of letting us become bitter. You know, that experience really gave me a sense of compassion for people that behave badly. I can see them now as hurting people instead of, you know, bad people. And it just made me realize that we're all capable of it. So let me encourage you to work through any painful experiences that you've had, any unforgiveness that you might be holding on to, any anger and bitterness and resentment that you've let build up in your heart. Let me encourage you, work through it. Find someone. If you don't come to me or you know somebody else, go to somebody else and find help to get rid of that pain and that frustration and that resentment and that anger and that bitterness so that you can behave in a way that's positive and use that pain towards something good and not towards something bad. Come on and join us on the Power Hour program. This is the kind of stuff we discuss and help people work through and really make a difference in lives. That's my heart. That's my desire, is to make a difference in other people's lives. So PM me, call me, text me, whatever you want to do. Make a comment though. I really want to know what your thinking is on this. And let me encourage you to work through forgiveness. If you don't know how, I can help you with that. Bye guys. Thank you so much.